So I am now in the great state of Wisconsin, and we are on a farm visit to come see Kopp's Krops. So they are new farmers to us this year, but they have been at it for a while. So I'm going to switch my camera around and I'll let them talk to you. We are on their farm, so we are outdoors. We also will remain socially distant so that we keep everybody safe. All right, so we have Tim and Marianne Kopp, and we are in Wisconsin. So guys, why don't you tell us a little bit about your farm story?
Well, our family's been on this farm since 1915. We've been selling vegetables here off of this site and through the Beloit Farmers and the formerly Clinton Farmers Market since the early 90s. And we go back to the 1960s selling vegetables at the Shopiere store. We have about 3 acres that's under cultivation and weeds mostly now of vegetables. We've got some mushrooms, we've got bees, we've got one hoop house that we operate out of.
Hickory nut tree.
Yeah, we do hickory nuts, and that we're standing under on this nice warm day. Anything else you'd have to add to that?
Pretty much seasonal,
Yeah.
vegetables.
All right, well, we're in the mushroom yard now, and this area right here is an old oyster mushroom bed, and you can see that there's nothing left. You think this log would weigh, 40 pounds. It weighs maybe 3 pounds, and it's used up. It's probably 6 years old. You can see here at one point in time where we drilled the holes and put oyster mushroom spores in this log. And over the course of the last 6 years, the mushrooms have used up all the nutrients, all the cellulose, everything that was in this log to produce mushrooms. You can see it's still got some remnants of mushrooms left on it. It tries its little heart out to produce for us, but it's just nothing left there to work with anymore.
Right.
And over here you can see more logs of different kinds of mushrooms. There's white oysters, shiitakes, pohu oyster mushrooms, cure oyster mushrooms, olive oysterlings, lots of different kinds of mushrooms. You can hear they're waiting for rain and a change in temperature. And hopefully we'll get them fruiting again. There are still a few down here that are fruiting. There's a few shiitakes, and you can see some spots where we've harvested recently.
I'm going to walk over here because I think you can see here. Yeah, we've got a few here of the shiitakes. Yep. Sure enough. And then, so from the time that you inject the spores, how long does it take for them to actually produce?
Just depending on a species, like a shiitake, is probably going to be 1.5 years to get mushrooms out of those. Oysters, you can get them as soon as 6 months. So, we've got some over there that were just done this last spring, and I noticed that a few little mushrooms are starting to pip on those logs. So it just depends on the species. I mean, some of them take 3-4 years. The reishi mushrooms that are over there, they've been sitting there for 2 years now, still haven't done anything, but we'll patiently wait. Sometimes mushroom growing to me is a little bit black magic.
Yeah, I can imagine that to be true.
Temperature, environment, humidity, all those things affect how they grow, and outdoors you can't control that. I mean, commercial, large-scale mushroom growing operations are all temperature and environment controlled, and are probably using a commercial-based substrate that's not a natural log, or it could be ground up logs, or sawdust from a mill, or straw from gosh knows where, probably not organic straw,
right?
Because that's so expensive to use.
I think it's just really good for people to know why, like when people look at shiitake mushrooms and say, gosh, it seems like per pound they're expensive, but it's
Yeah,
there is.
It's a time-consuming thing. It's
Well, and
You
a
know.
bunch, you can see like there's a lot on that log, and the logs around, there's nothing. So
Yep. It's hard to they have to grow at their own.
yeah,
and
it takes time.
the size of the log will affect the colonization rate. I mean, it's a lot easier for the spores to colonize a small log like this than it is. This might take 2 years, where this a year and a half.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't think I ever realized that it would take a year and a half. And if you look at the small amount that one log produces, I mean, it is like black magic.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Exactly.
And you don't have to weed them.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, and that is a really good feature.
So once you